Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Shala Monika Putri and my student number is 1988203008. I'm from English Education 4th semester. On this video, I would like to give answers from the questions as a mid test. Okay, there are 10 questions which is I answer. The first question is, what can people say about language? When two or more people communicate with each other in speech, we can call the system of communication that they employ a code. In most cases, the code will be something we may also want to call a language. We should also note that two speakers who are bilingual, that is, who have access to code, and who for one reason or another shift back and forth between the two languages as they converse by code switching, are actually using a third code, one which draws on those two languages. The second question is, why does competence to be homogeneous? Linguistic theory is concerned primarily with an ideal speaker's listener in a completely homogeneous speech community who know its language perfectly and is unable factor by such grammatically irrelevant conditions as memory limitation, distraction, shift of attention and interest, and error in applying his knowledge of the language in actual performance. Okay, the third question is, how is language related to society? While language and society are two things meet at one point, it means that between language and society will not be separate. Language as arbitrary symbol, system, sound that used by member of the community as a means of communication, interaction, and identify yourself. And the fourth question is, how do sociolinguistics consider Chomsky's theory of language? Chomsky has argued on many assertions that in order to make meaningful discoveries about language, linguistics must try to distinguish between what is important and what is unimportant about language and linguistic behavior. The important matters, sometimes referred to as language universals, concrete the learnability of a language, the characteristics they share, and the rule and principle that speakers apparently follow in constructing and interpreting sentences. And the fifth question is, what scientific study of language have people so far conducted? Okay, linguistics is the science of language, and linguistics are scientists who apply the scientific method to questions about the nature and function of language. Linguists conduct formal studies of speech sounds, grammatical structure, and meaning across all the words over 6,000 languages. The sixth question is, what can be studied under sociolinguistics? Sociolinguistics might study how social attitudes determine what is considered appropriate language use or inappropriate language used in a particular setting. Sociolinguists might also study the grammar, phonetic, vocabulary, and other aspects of various sociology. The seventh question is, what can be studied under the sociology of language? The sociology of language studies society in relationship of language. It is closely related to the field of the sociolinguistics, which focus on the effect of society on language. Sociology of language seeks to understand the way that social dynamics are affected by individual and group language use. A question is, what is the methodological concrete in sociolinguistics like? The distinctive methodological feature of sociolinguistics is to analyze language elements in the speech communities with qualitative and quantitative approach. In the earlier studies, sociolinguistics paid much more attention on spoken form because this form could be analyzed in the speech communities and be easily. The ninth question is, what kind of study can be conducted under sociolinguistics? From descriptive studies of dialect to investigations of language variation and change to analysis of the role that language or particular linguistic feature play in the construction of individual or group identities. These sort of studies are all sociolinguistics. And the last question is, what principle or action sociolinguistic investigation follow? There are 8 participles or axionomies. The first is the cumulative principle, the uniformation principle, the principle of convergence, the principle of subordinate shift, the principle of style shifting, the principle of attention, the vernacular principle, and the last is the principle of formality.